It's February 15th, JLD here, and welcome to MSTR Today and the Treasury Titans. And Michael Saylor wants us to know that 99 is greater than 98. So there's a few double meanings in here that I'm almost positive is accurate. Number one, he's sharing that this is the 99th time that Strategy bought Bitcoin. If you count all these dots up, you would equal 99. Now, of course, 99 is greater than 98. That's number one. But number two, I'm also reading from this kind of a double meaning that his Bitcoin buy from last week was bigger than his Bitcoin buy from the week prior. So I'm going for a double in here, a double meaning. And I will say that I honestly think that Stretch alone might be bigger than his entire buy last week. And I think he absolutely hammered the ATM as well. So I'm looking for a pretty big buy. I'm going to go ahead and say 7,525 Bitcoin is what I'm guessing tomorrow's result is going to be. Who knows? That's totally a guess, but I just kind of feel like it's going to be in that range. Time will tell. I hope, I really do hope it's a lot bigger. But of course, nothing in this video is financial advice, and let's keep on rocking. To Michael Saylor saying Happy Valentine's Day. Now, I know a lot of you obviously celebrated Valentine's Day yesterday on Valentine's Day, but I'm just sharing this with you today because that's a lot of Bitcoin chocolate that looks yummy. So I hope everybody had a great Valentine's Day. And I'm also hoping that everybody's having a great Sunday as well. Strategy posted that Strategy can withstand a drawdown of Bitcoin price to 8,000 and still have sufficient assets to fully cover our debts. And so here we are. Converts are fully covered even after an 88% Bitcoin price decline. So the current balance sheet is 69,000 Bitcoin. There's 49.3 billion in Bitcoin reserves. The net debt is 6 billion. That's a 8.3x Bitcoin rating. The Bitcoin reserve is at 6 billion. This is an extreme downside, 88% decline. That means this would go down to 6 billion for the Bitcoin reserve, and the net debt would also be $6 billion, which would be a 1-to-1 rating. So convertible debt notes have staggered maturities and put dates between 2027 and 2032. Strategy plans to equitize existing convertible debt over time and avoid issuing additional senior debts. So let me tell you, this fortress is rock solid. And Michael Saylor wants us to know that our plan is to equitize our convertible debt over the next 3 to 6 years. He's very confident he's going to be able to do that. I'm very, very confident he's going to be able to do that because guess what? Over a week, a month, even a year, Bitcoin price is pretty unpredictable. But over the next 3 to 6 years, it's going higher. Rob says, what if MSTR raising the stretch dividends during bear markets makes them obsolete? Investors flood in for yield, shattering any downside momentum before bear markets can even ever take hold. Saylor Strategy doesn't just survive winters, it melts them away. No more cycles, just perpetual spring for Bitcoin. This is why my base case is bear trap. Higher. I'm with you, Rob. And Rohan says, the scariest times to buy Bitcoin have historically been the best times to buy Bitcoin. And here we are at 9 in extreme fear. I've been buying every single day we've been in extreme fear. And I'm not going to be upset if next week is extreme fear either because I will keep on buying. Rob says, Stretch is going to become the backbone of the financial system. Fiat flows into savings accounts backed by Stretch. As demand grows, these funds flow to drive the Stretch ATM. ATM proceeds go where? Directly into Bitcoin. Bitcoin appreciates faster than the cost of capital forever. Remember, Bitcoin has no top because fiat has no bottom. And this was, interestingly enough, by the way, a update from Buck, which is using Stretch to make their institutional grade yield. It says Buck Lab upgrades saving token to 10% APY, which is nuts. They were at 7. They just upgraded to 10. What does that mean? More Stretch buying and more Saylor ATMing. Let's flip and go. Everyone needs, says Rob, to get comfortable with the idea of MSTR controlling 10% of all Bitcoin to ever exist, greater than 2 million Bitcoin, because it's inevitable unless the market front runs MSTR and sends Bitcoin into the millions quickly here. And if that happens, MSTR also wins. Checkmate. And all I have to say is that is an absolute checkmate. Saylor's thought of everything. He's the financial engineering genius of our lifetime. Few understand that now. Many will understand that in a decade. Chris says, if you're pursuing asymmetric opportunities as an investor, you don't need to be right the majority of the time. You can be right the minority of the time and still win big. And believe me, This is an asymmetric opportunity, and I believe we are so right, and I believe we're going to win so big. And Michael Saylor has some great content coming our way as soon as we get back from thanking our sponsors. Scams and identity theft do not start with hackers. They start with your personal data being easy to find online. Your home address, phone number, and employment history can be sitting on dozens of websites right now, waiting to be used for fake loans, targeted scams, or worse. That information is spread across people's search pages, shady directories, and commercial databases you've never even heard of. That's where Incogni comes in. Instead of spending hundreds of hours manually opting out of these sites, Incogni automates the entire process. They hunt down your data and demand its removal. Incogni doesn't just do this once. They continuously monitor these sites in the background to make sure your data doesn't reappear. I recommend the unlimited plan because when something isn't covered automatically, Incogni's custom removals feature lets you send in a specific link, and a dedicated privacy expert takes care of the manual removal for you, start to finish. Remember, if they can't find you, they can't use your data against you. Take your data back risk-free with Incogni's 30-day money-back guarantee. Use code MSTR for 60% off an annual plan at incogni.com/MSTR. That's INCOGNI.com/MSTR. When you want more, start your business with Northwest Registered Agent and get access to thousands of free guides, tools, and legal forms to help you launch and protect your business all in one place. Build your complete business identity with Northwest today. Northwest Registered Agent has been helping small business owners and entrepreneurs launch and grow businesses for nearly 30 years. They are the largest registered agent and LLC service in the U.S. with over 1,500 corporate guides, real people who know your local laws and can help you in your business every step of the way. Build your business identity fast with resources, forms, and step-by-step guides even before creating an account. Sign up to manage your business hub with lawyer-drafted documents. Northwest is your one-stop resource, makes life easy, and keeps privacy automatic, never selling data anywhere. Don't wait. Protect your privacy, build your brand, and get your complete business identity in just 10 clicks and 10 minutes. Visit www.northwestregisteredagent.com/JLD free and start building something amazing. Get more with Northwest Registered Agent at www.northwestregisteredagent.com/JLD free.
Michael, you've referred a couple times to this new digital asset credit that you guys have developed, STRC Stretch. It's a preferred security that, as you mentioned, pays out 10.5% in yield. And this is also a way for you all to not necessarily issue more stock in the underlying equity in order to pay for buying more Bitcoin, and therefore maybe not diluting those underlying shares as much. But how far do you think you can take that as sort of a funding mechanism for your Bitcoin strategy?
Well, I think the money market industry is massive. There's $30 trillion worth of assets invested in treasury-type instruments in the United States. Stretches about 1% of 1% of that industry. It's about a $3 billion issuance. And the big idea here is you take an asset appreciating 50% a year with a volatility in the mid-40s, and you strip the volatility from 45 down to below 5, maybe to 2, 3, or 4, or even 1, and then you extract about 10% dividend yield. And if you do that, you end up with something which is yielding 6% more than the risk-free rate. And when the vol gets to 1, you've got a Sharpe ratio of 6. So we're really engaging in financial engineering to distill pure currency yield above the risk-free rate. And of course, the common stock shareholders in MSTR get the difference between the 10% that we pay and the 50% that Bitcoin's been performing. Long term, the math is pretty simple. We expect Bitcoin to appreciate about 30% a year for the next 20 years. We expect to pay about 10% dividend yield on the preferreds. 2/3 of the benefit go to the common equity shareholders, and most of the volatility is stomached by the common equity shareholders and the corporation. And the credit investors get this pure 10% return of capital dividend That means it's tax deferred. They don't have to pay tax on it until they sell the underlying instrument. And that means that they're able to invest in a credit instrument that pays them a 10% dividend instead of holding a money market that pays them 4% in a taxable coupon.
Michael, of course, we're having this conversation the day after the government shutdown officially has ended. Things have to restart up again, but still record-setting shutdown. What did you think about the length of the shutdown? And do you believe it reinforces your long-term view on Bitcoin and various other cryptos? Because look, at the end of the day, record-setting shutdown, I mean, how can you have trust in the dollar?
Well, we joke there's no tariffs on Bitcoin. Bitcoin has no employees. It's got no corporate headquarters. It is an index reflecting the digital economy or the global digital economy. So if you just like to buy 1/21 millionth of the global free market, then you buy one Bitcoin. As people lose confidence in a currency in Africa or South America or Asia, as they lose confidence in a government, if they think that their favorite company might make a mistake, war, famine, pestilence, fire, flood, uncertainty, acts of God, all of these things are risk factors, and they're all risk factors that Bitcoin doesn't undergo and doesn't experience. So as people get educated, I think they can see the appeal of buying digital capital instead of investing their money in equity capital or real estate capital or fiat capital or corporate credit capital instruments. And so this is all a teaching moment, but I think that every single month that goes by, more and more people start to appreciate the benefit of owning 1/21 millionth of all the money in the world forever.
Michael, do you think in light of the shutdown that investors have lost faith in our country?
No, I don't think they've lost faith in our country. I think the country is going to do just fine. This is a hiccup. It's not our finest moment. But right now, the exciting things that are going on are digital intelligence, digital assets, digital capital, digital credit. It's pretty clear that money's going to move at the speed of light. It's pretty clear that a billion AIs are going to think a billion times faster than us human beings. You can see a world where a billion robots are going to build everything we need, where the cars are going to drive themselves, where the products are going to figure stuff out for us. So we're moving toward an intelligent world that is millions of times more efficient and more empowering. So in a world where a billion robots do everything I want before I think to ask for the thing, I don't know how I won't be better off.
Michael, is there a risk that some of those robots or perhaps quantum computers combined with generative AI, that they crack Bitcoin or that they think of something better than Bitcoin and it becomes obsolete?
No, I don't think there is a risk. I think that technology will improve and hardware will improve. And at some point, if the hardware gets more powerful, we'll have to upgrade the software that protects our system. So just like you can expect your bank to upgrade their software, and you can expect to upgrade your Apple software and your Google software and your Microsoft software, and you can expect to upgrade your hardware devices. I'm on the iPhone 17 Pro Max right now. You'll upgrade your computer. Bitcoin is a protocol, but it runs on hardware and software nodes all around the world. The hardware is being upgraded every few months. The software is being upgraded annually. And so the software and hardware that runs the Bitcoin protocol is going to get upgraded just like your Apple and Android and Microsoft software will get upgraded.
I was going to say Tim Cook's sending you a check in the mail, but I guess now Microsoft and Alphabet have got to send you a check too, because you mentioned all of those. Let's talk a little bit about the bigger market because of the AI advances that you're talking about. You're very familiar with the dot-com bubble, right? Because you founded MicroStrategy in '89, you went public in '98. I was looking at the history of the stock chart here. You went public at $12 a share. The stock at that time spiked as high as $313 in 2000. And then crashed down or remained below 20 until you initiated your Bitcoin buying strategy. I'm curious, as you look back at that crash, what that taught you and whether you see any parallels today. Obviously, you're aware of the big bubble debate going on right now.
I think it teaches you to focus. Don't overextend. You might have 10 good ideas, but you're better to focus upon your one idea and commercialize the one idea. It also just reminds you that no matter where you are as a corporation, you can always improve the company's outlook, and you can improve and create shareholder value by harnessing the next wave. People wrote off Apple for dead. I mean, Michael Dell famously told Apple to shut down and give the money back to the shareholders back around 97. And then Steve Jobs returned and he harnessed the internet, and then he harnessed MP3 files and digital music in order to revive Apple, and then eventually created a crazy thing called the iPhone, and it became the most valuable company in the world. I think history is replete with examples, whether it's the internet or whether it's AI chips. People wrote off GPUs as being irrelevant, and all of a sudden we have the ChatGPT moment. The Bitcoin miners were struggling, and then AI explodes, and now everybody wants their energy. I think that digital intelligence, digital assets, digital capital are creating the most compelling opportunities for corporations in the world today. I think the important thing is to use them the right way. For example, we used AI in order to design those 5 digital credit instruments. So people ask, how do you make $1 billion with AI? Well, we created $8 billion with AI just by designing new types of securities. What's the second best? There is no second best.